this leads to some interesting areas. Sold there. And a mail breaker here. A mail breaker is a rapier. All of these weapons have different animations. Well, for you, considering the type of weapon it is. Now the enemies are wielding fire, which makes them deal more damage. Oh, I like that message. Probably ran to his death. Let's not make the same mistake. Turpentine lights your weapon on fire and is very useful for something later ahead. This is an interesting spot to die in. There are no invisible walls in this game. Which means that you can fall off and die here. This is the first of some traps that can happen. If you look up there, you'll see a soldier, and you'll see a boulder. And you'll see some stairs of which a boulder can easily fall down. Let's find out what happens. Actually, that boulder was useful because it opens up a previously inaccessible area, which we can grab the bastard sword from. Go up and you're automatically being shot at from behind by this crossbow pin. And it leads you to suspect that this is the area you should be heading to, which is actually quite the contrary. This is the place you should be avoiding. Like the plague. We're up ahead. Is a enemy who you should just simply avoid on the first playthrough of this level. So let's see if I can find a little message that can warn players. I should say beginners should try this area later. Sure enough, there's my message. Indeed, I will not be fighting the enemy that is beyond that area, because it requires a little bit of luring on my parts, and I can't say I have the means to do so yet. So now we see a blue-faced knight. These guys are fairly difficult, unless you know what you're doing. Jumping jumping down there will lead to a certain item. The crossbow. Crossbows aren't that useful, but nevertheless I felt it would be good to get one. Alright. And now we're back in the stair area. The good thing about Demon Souls saving feature is that you can save anywhere in the level and you will start where you last quit. It doesn't kick you at the back of the level, and the enemies will not have respawned. There's not a checkpoint system here. However, if you do die, you will start at the beginning of the level, and all the enemies will have respawned, and you will have lost all of your currency, your souls, on the bottom right. And you can only get them back by going to the place where you last died. And even then, that's usually they kill themselves by doing that. I've never seen one actually climb around it. Interesting. In case you hadn't figured it out, that's a good sign that there's some explosive people here. Or there's some exploding barrels. Strangely enough, exploding barrels don't explode if you hit them, only if you hit them with fire. These chains in fact dropped some bodies that were hanging off of them. As you can see, there are now 2 corpses on the ground. Let's see about throwing a fireball at these guys. See if you can figure out how to come back up here. It looks as if they're having difficulty. So I will show that these things don't blow up if you roll into them. They just simply crumble. But they do explode if you throw fire at them. Now, this actually is not where you're supposed to go forward. It's actually a shortcut to the back of the level. While enemies respawn, shortcuts always stay open. And I have 2 very important items here that I just acquired. First is the cling ring. Second is the jade hair ornament. The cling ring increases the amount of health I have while I'm a ghost. In other words, it goes from half to 3/4 of my health. The other item is the jade hair ornament. That can be turned into stockpile Thomas for something, which we'll go do now.